how you feel about this, but this year just feels different. I know for myself, it's been already a year of renewed energy, and I'm already adding things to my spiritual practice, and I feel like this year is just a really pivotal year. Today I want to share with you some of the practices and things that I am adding to my routine this year in 2023 to help with my connection to myself and with my intuition. My hope would be that you can take something from this video to possibly even apply for yourself. The very first thing that I'm doing this year is I am creating more balance between my physical self and my spiritual world. The reality of it is that yes, we are spiritual beings, but we also live in a physical world. So we must be in both places. So what I found out for myself is that through various phases in my life, the pendulum would swing too far one way and the other side of the coin would be completely neglected. So for me, this is all about identifying areas in my life that I am just doing in excess. If we go too far one way, then we are not living a balanced life. For me, what this means is not getting too caught up in my spiritual self, that I am ignoring everything in my physical world around me, and vice versa, not getting too caught up in everything that's happening in the world and ignoring my own inner wisdom and what's going on with me internally. What I came to the realization of recently was that my library of books had a lot of books that were focused on things in the physical world, such as attaining financial wealth. Didn't have as many books to help me with my spiritual journey. It's not saying that I have been completely ignoring my spiritual journey, but there's a wealth of ancient wisdom that is inside some of these really spiritual books. Don't get me wrong, I do have a lot of spiritual books, but they're not the ones that I currently had on my bookshelf to read. This year, I am changing that. And this is one of my most recent finds, How to Read the Akashic Records, Accessing the Archive of the Soul and Its Journey. So that is just one way that I'm creating more balance between physical world and spiritual world. It's just so important to remember that we really need to be in both places. And another thing that I'm going to be really focused on this year is taking more breaks throughout my day. And this is really going to help with my overall vitality and even my performance during the day. I know that sometimes I have the tendency to just power through the day. I get so hyper focused on something, kind of tunnel visioned in a way when I get going on a task. So there's this tendency for myself to just pile through it no matter the cost. While that can be really good for piling through a bunch of tasks, it's not necessarily good for being more present in my life. And I would have this tendency to get into autopilot mode and just go after task. It's not the most mindful way to carry on with my day, and it actually causes me to not be as present as I could be and not paying attention to how my physical body is feeling. So this year I am focusing on taking multiple breaks throughout my day, whether that's to meditate real quick, stretch, take a breather outside, really just take moments to observe my emotions, sensations in my body, and just how I'm feeling. Daily check-ins are really going to help me to refrain from going into autopilot. So with that said, I want to take more nature walks and enjoy the energy of the sun. A couple of weeks ago, I was in this local Facebook group and I saw somebody had posted nature hikes for my area, and they had comprised a whole list of them. So of course I printed them out, and this is something that I'm going to be striving to do more of this year. I'm going to explore new areas and get out of those mundane daily routines. It's really a good opportunity to reconnect with myself and nature and really just clear my mind. This will help me to feel more rooted in my own body, and it actually will have a trickle effect to other areas in my life, such as my creativity. The next thing that I'm going to be focusing more on this year is practicing more gratitude. It can be real easy to focus on things that are not going right in our life, and it really just sends you into this downward spiral. Having a gratefulness practice can help with focusing on things that are going right. Doesn't matter where you are in life, there is always something to be grateful for, and it's about focusing on the small things. This is not to say that we should just ignore everything negative in our life. I think that it is a fine line between ignoring all the negative things and acknowledging that they do exist. I know that there's a lot of people that, are on the positive thinking train, and I am too. I do believe in positive thinking, but I also don't believe that we should be ignoring the other side of it. There's black and white. There's two sides to it. So I'm acknowledging that negative exists. I am just not going to get fixated on it. And the next thing that I'm going to be doing this year is finding more of my spiritual community. A few weeks ago, I did a 2023 energy forecast, and what came up in that reading was the importance of finding your tribe and finding your community, one that helps you to feel safe and comfortable. This can be so powerful because it helps to bring like-minded people together in like a supportive group. So I'm going to be focused on finding people that I can learn from and vice versa. And really what I want to do with this YouTube channel is to create a community where we can all come together, we can support each other in our spiritual journey, and we can all learn from each other. So I'm going to focus on not isolating myself this year. I tend to like being a hermit sometimes. I am outgoing when it comes to my social media, but I love just staying to myself at home. Now, I said that I was not going to ditch all of my daily routines, but the ones that I do keep, I want to find the joy in the simple things that those daily routines have to offer. How can I make that daily routine more intentional? How can I simplify my life? This also means celebrating even the smallest milestones, because it's going to help me to feel more connected. It's going to help me to feel more vital and present. And the practice of self-love and compassion is making its way into my life in a more stronger way this year. Over the last couple of years, I have become more aware of some of the mean and self-sabotaging things that I say to myself about myself. We can really just be so hard on ourselves, and I think that if somebody else had said some of the same things that I have told myself over the years, I would be so heartbroken. So this year, I'm going to be focusing a lot on cultivating a practice within myself that is more kinder and more compassionate towards me. So I'm only going to be saying yes this year to things that I truly want to say yes to. Here's the thing. If you say yes reluctantly, that causes way more problems and resentment than if you had just said no in the first place. And what it is paying attention to my own well-being and not saying yes because I feel like I have to. Saying no to things that don't align with where I am trying to go. And not feeling guilty for saying no. And part of self-love too is also giving yourself permission to realign and reassess in your life as many times as you need to. I used to have this worry to where I would worry about what people thought if I changed my course a little bit, or I went this way instead of the way that I had already been going for quite some time. The truth is that life changes, and sometimes we need to readjust and realign. So this year, giving myself permission to do all the readjusting that I need to, and give yourself permission to do the exact same thing. And if I'm telling the truth, sometimes it takes many different careers before you figure out what you were supposed to be doing here. I know I've went through multiple different things that I thought I should have been doing at the time. Everything comes in our life for a season. So we are meant to do that thing for this point in time, but we need to realize and understand when it's time to pivot and to adjust. Having more boundaries with people and things that I allow to rent space in my head. I've always been one to encourage an open dialogue and people talking with different viewpoints. And I still really agree with that. I feel like we should be able to talk about things that we disagree with. However, I don't have to allow somebody that is really nasty to come into my energy space. So what I'm going to be focusing on is being more mindful about who I let in that energy space. I think we should all really keep this in mind when we receive energy that we feel is draining or we feel is negative, and it's something that we don't really want in our energy space. We can return to sender. So this is a year for me for reassessing boundaries that I have with others. And what else I'm focusing on this year is filtering more of the energy that I allow to come at me. So something else that I was thinking about was, what boundaries are we putting up? Because there are definitely helpful boundaries that can help to protect us, but I think sometimes we could be putting up boundaries that maybe aren't as necessary, and they could be preventing positive things from coming into our life. So I think sometimes there can be this tendency to have such strong boundaries that love and things coming from the heart can't even enter in through your boundary. This year is really a focus for myself on my physical vitality and health. In 2020, I had made the decision that I was going to get in the best shape of my life. And what prompted this decision really was the fact that I was realizing that my special needs son is getting older and he's also getting stronger, and I'm not able to physically handle him in the way that I could when he was a toddler. I'm not saying that I'll be able to handle him when he is a grown man, but I just noticed that it was becoming increasingly harder to just keep up with him and to help him out in the best way that I knew that I could. In 2020, I put this real focus on getting physically strong and physically vital. And I feel like up until that point, I had my diet on lock and everything was good. The only part that I was missing was the strength training exercise. I'm so glad that I made that decision, because it has made me stronger, not only physically, but also mentally, and paying attention to what my intuition is telling me for the foods that I need to eat and what type of activities I need to be doing day to day. I think it's really important to listen to your intuition and what it's telling you, because something that my body needs or something that is good for my body might not necessarily be great for yours. So this is why it's really important to tune inward and figure out what your body is trying to tell you. Not shaming yourself if you're not perfect with this. I eat a pretty clean diet, but I also have been working really hard to shake this tendency of mine to be a perfectionist. So I work on not shaming myself if I'm absolutely not perfect with this. And I've really had this realization, especially with everything that has went on over the last few years, is what good is all the money in the world if we are too sick to spend it? So there really needs to be a focus on physical vitality. And I know it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind and not focus on how are we doing and what can we do today to increase our health. And the last thing that I'm going to be working on is exploring some of my past experiences and past wounds that I might be carrying forward that I don't need to. This means examining behaviors that I do today that could be a reflection of sometime in the past when I was hurt. In life, lessons can be so hard to deal with, and sometimes they are so hard to cope with. They create these like scars that we carry forward. Now, I'm not saying to like forget about your past experiences, but I know for myself, there's been a certain amount of wounds that I've carried forward that have prevented me from living my best life now. And like I had mentioned a moment ago about boundaries, I'm going to be reassessing my boundaries in my life to see if they are limiting or if they are actually necessary for me to have up. So if I'm limiting myself in any kind of way, I don't want to do that. All in all, when we work on things like this, it not only will melt over into all areas of our life. So if we are physically vital and we feel good, we're automatically going to be better parents, better sister or brother. You know, we're going to do better at our job. The more that we can become aware of where we need to do better, the more that we're going to be in tune with what our body is trying to tell us. So I do think that this year is a really pivotal year and a great year to draw the line in the sand and make a lot of those changes that have been kind of nagging at you. I know there's been certain things for myself that feel like it's just been a voice in the back of my head that has kind of been nagging at me to do over the last couple years. And I feel like now is a good time to just really execute on those things. The more that we can acknowledge that nobody's coming to save us. We have to do the inner work ourselves. Work is not for anybody else to do other than ourselves. Now let's pull a collective card from my tarot deck to close this video today. All right, I'm going to shuffle. They're already shuffled, but let's do it again. Okay. Okay, let's see what we need to know closing the video. Oh, we got the Ace of Pentacles reversed. So the Ace of Pentacles upright typically represents the universe giving you an opportunity. So you can see the universe is offering you a pentacle. So reversed, this can quite literally mean that you need to check in with your physical body or something in the physical world. Pay attention to what your gut is telling you. So if your gut is telling you that it's time to make a change or it's time to move on something, then you best listen to your gut. So reversed, it still can mean that you are being given an opportunity. It just might mean that you need to maybe evaluate the risk a little bit more. The universe gives us opportunities all the time. We just need to be conscious enough to be able to take them. Sometimes we could have so many opportunities lying in front of us. We don't have the clarity to see them. We won't be able to seize the opportunity. Oh, let's turn it upright and manifest abundance, manifest new opportunities, gifts, all of those things this year. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got some good nuggets out of it, or maybe ideas on things that you could do this year to increase your connection with yourself. And with that said, if you like this video, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my brand new YouTube channel.